house that moved is a historic building in Exeter, originally built in the late Middle Ages and relocated in 1961, when the entire street it was on was demolished to make way for the new bypass road linked to the replacement of the city's bridge over the River Exe. The house was built in the late Middle Ages, likely between 1420 and 1460, and it was located at 16 Edmund Street on the corner of Frog Street, probably for a wealthy merchant. Its age makes it one of the oldest private dwellings in Devon, and may be one of the oldest in Europe. Edmund Street was previously the main road from Exeter's West Gate to the old Exe Bridge, and most of the currently visible old bridge was excavated during the demolition of Edmund and Frog Street. The church on the bridge, the ruins of which are still clearly visible, including the tower, was St Edmund's Church, which was on Edmund Street. The house is half timbered, with each floor jettied and projecting out further than the floor below. The first floor overhangs by 1 foot 11 inches, or 58 centimeters, on two sides of the building. It was built with 3 stories and a cock loft, and had the west wall made of heathertree stone. There is a single room on the ground floor, first floor, but 2 separate chambers on the second floor, with all floors being approximately equal height of around 7 feet 6 inches, or 269 centimeters high. This pattern seems to have been popular in the city centre, especially on corner plots, although this is the only surviving example. In the 1950s, Exeter City Council was planning the replacement of the bridge over the River Exe, and the construction of the bypass road, allowing traffic to avoid the city centre when approaching the proposed 2 bridges. The whole of Edmund Street and Frog Street was set to be demolished in order to make way for the new road construction. The building was known as the Merchant House, or the Tudor House, despite likely predating the Tudor period by 60 years or more, and by now was in a very poor state of repair. Local historians and archaeologists were keen to save the building, following the loss of a number of other historic buildings, both during the Baedeker raids of World War II and subsequent post-war redevelopment in the area. Amongst similar buildings demolished was a similar age timber frame building located on the site where the house would eventually be moved to in the 1940s. The building was granted Grade 2 listed status on the 29th of January 1953. The City Council still wanted to demolish the building, but the Ministry of Works intervened with a preservation order, and a plan was put together to relocate the building in order that the new road construction could go ahead. Exeter City Council was able to get a grant of £7,000 from the government towards the cost of over £8,000 to pay the specialist London contractor to effect the move. In order to facilitate this, a compulsory purchase order was made on the building on the 5th of October 1960. The building was in a poor state of repair, and in order to move it, it was stripped back to just its wooden frame, which still weighed 13 long tons, which was then reinforced with a timber framework weighing a further 10 long tons, which avoided using any metal screws or bolts. The house was turned 90 degrees to be in the right orientation for the move. Iron wheels were attached on the corners and a steel rail laid, and jacks were also added to ensure that the top-heavy house could be kept level during the move. The move of the building began on Saturday, the 9th of December 1961. with the house being raised on jacks, and over the Sunday and Monday, the house was slowly moved into the centre of Edmund Street. On Tuesday the 12th, Edmund Street was closed off to traffic by the police, and the 70 metres move up the 10% gradient hill was slowly completed using air compressor driven winches.
You're in charge of this move. It seems to me that this little hill is going to be one of the most difficult parts of the operation. What in fact are you going to do now?
Our next stage is to lay out tracks in the roadway on which our wheels can run, to anchor winches at the top of the hill, and to pull the building up the hill.
In order to ensure the house stayed from falling over, spirit levels were used throughout the movement. The work started using 2 winches, but this ended up being too fast, so they disconnected one of the winches. The house was brought into position at the bottom of West Street, opposite the Church of St Mary's Steps, adjacent to the former west gate of the city walls. The move took about 4.5 hours. Once in place, the house was cemented down and went through a full refurbishment, including extensive treatment for woodworm. During the reconstruction, they moved the front door around the corner to the side, which previously faced Frog Street and now faces West Street and the church. The moving of the house was the setting for a 1978 Puffin's children's book story by David Rees called The House That Moved. The move was praised by the National Buildings Record as a remarkable feat.